Naruto, God-level system author, Blue Water God. Chapter 271 Uchiha Madara shot Spike. Reincarnation, who was chatting with the girls, suddenly frowned and looked outside. Someone is here, not weaker than me. I don't know if it's an enemy or a friend. Mikoto's expression was slightly solemn. With the help of Reincarnation, she successfully stepped into the 6th Dao rank a few days ago, and her strength has grown by leaps and bounds, and she can easily defeat her previous self. Now I feel an aura that is no weaker than hers. Needless to say, I know that it must be a 6th level person. Don't worry, it's not an enemy. Let me go out. Reincarnation patted Mikoto's shoulder lightly, and then used space teleport to leave. What are you looking for? I'm not interested in listening to nonsense. Hyuga-chen looked at Hyuga Hamura indifferently. The indifferent and cold eyes made Hinata Hamura feel that his chip was about to freeze, and he almost crashed. It's nothing, I just want to see Lord Jianjin, Hinata Hamura said cautiously. A flash of anger flashed across Hyuga-chen's face, and he kicked Hyuga Hamura several hundred meters away. Don't look for me if you have nothing to do. Next time, die. Reincarnation's bone-chilling voice caused the surrounding trees to form a layer of frost. Hinata Hamura got up, saluted Hinata-chen, and then slowly retreated. Wait. Hyuga-chen suddenly stopped Hyuga Hamura. Lord Chen, do you have any instructions? Hinata Hamura asked respectfully. This pair of tensaizen is for you. After thinking about it, Hyuga Tatsu threw the tensaizen to Hyuga Hamura. Putting these eyes on him is useless for the time being. Let's use them for Hinata Hamura first. If you need it later, take it back. Let's go. Reincarnation left directly. He is now unhappy because of the open and secret fight between Sarah and Tarumin. But I'm not in the mood to say anything more to this guy. Even if it wasn't for Reincarnation's need for an errand, he would have just killed this guy. Hinata Hamura took the salt water bottle with tensaizen, dug out both eyes, and then put the tensaizen on. There was no pain in the process. In fact, Hinata Hamura would not feel pain. After all, he was just a smart chip, and this body was just a puppet he controlled. After transplanting tensai eyes, Hinata Hamura looked at the two samsara eyes and transplanted them into two palms, just like Otsutsuki Momo style. After finishing all this, Hinata Hamura left immediately. Give me the samsara eye, and I can spare your life. Hyuga Kingching looked at Nagato, who was panting and bewildered. Nagato was silent. If that's the case, I'll kill you, and then take the samsara eye. Hyuga Kingching picked up kunai and pointed the blade directly at Nagato's neck. Shenwu Otanzing, Nagato said in a dry tone. He didn't know how many times he had used Shenwu Otanzing, but he couldn't help the other party at all. It's not that he can't be hurt, but that the opponent is just like a monster. His body was twisted into a strange shape by him, and he can still fight. If it were an ordinary person, he would have died long ago, but he is still alive and well. When encountering such a freak, Nagato is also very desperate. The other party does not know pain, is not afraid of injury, and is not afraid of anything at all. What can he do? Even the soul-pulling eyes of Samsara couldn't help the other party, and Nagato doubted whether this guy was alive. In fact, Hyuga Kingching is indeed not a living person. The real owner of this body is already dead. Shenwu Otanzing repelled the opponent again. Nagato breathed a sigh of relief for a while and relaxed slightly. Just when Nagato relaxed, Hyuga Kingching, who was shot and flew out, suddenly exploded into a cloud of smoke and disappeared. No, it's a shadow clone. Nagato's pupils shrank suddenly, and a fatal crisis loomed over him, leaving him with no time to react. A fist hit Nagato's temple. Nagato's eyes were blurred, and he fell directly to the ground on the spot. Ha ha ha. Hyuga Kingching laughed at Nagato's eyes, stretched out his hand, and wanted to dig out Nagato's samsara eye. Who allowed you to spy on my things? A vicissitudes of life. Slightly domineering voice came. Reincarnation Kingching didn't care about the voice behind him. He only had samsara eyes in front of him, unless Reincarnation personally ordered him to stop. Damn. Madara Uchiha was completely furious when he saw that the other party ignored him at all and continued his actions instead. The eye of reincarnation is his lifeblood, and it is what he cares about the most. Even if Reincarnation is here, he dares to work hard. Don't think that you are Reincarnation's subordinate, and I will not dare to kill you. Uchiha Madara suddenly came to Reincarnation Kingching's side and kicked him out. Hyuga Ouching's fingers had already touched the eye of reincarnation, but under Madara Uchiha's foot, the eye of reincarnation was getting farther and farther away from him. Take him away. Madara Uchiha kicked Nagato towards Bleach with extremely angry eyes. He stared at Hyuga Kingching. If Bleach hadn't informed him that there were two subordinates of Reincarnation in the land of rain, Uchiha Madara, who was interested, came over to take a look. Maybe the samsara eye had changed hands. How can Uchiha Madara not be angry when his net worth is passive? Yandun plus Earth life. The flaming arrows formed by Amaterasu's black flames made a piercing sound in the air. Hyuga Kingching didn't have time to defend, and was hit by the arrow formed by Amaterasu's black flames, and all his limbs and head were pierced by the arrow. Amaterasu's black flames directly enveloped Reincarnation Kingching's body, and even the smart chip in his body was contaminated with Amaterasu's black flames. At this moment, Amaterasu unleashed its power, and the powerful black flame turned everything including the smart chip into ashes, and Hyuga Kingching was completely dead. An instant kill, just one move, completely instant kills Hyuga Kingching. I don't know the so-called things, and I dare to peep at my belongings, and I don't see if I have that strength. Uchiha Madara closed some sour eyes. Looking at the constantly burning Amaterasu black flame, Madara Uchiha used Kaguchi to control it to extinguish. It looks like I'm going to talk to Xianqin. Uchiha Madara narrowed his eyes. At the beginning, Xianqin promised not to shoot at Samsara Eye, but now that his subordinates are shooting at Samsara Eye, there must be an explanation. In other words, I want Xianqin to give an attitude, otherwise after he dies, if Xianqin takes away the Eye of Reincarnation, what will he do? It was you who killed the adults. Hinata Hamamura looked at Madara Uchiha blankly, and walked slowly over. After he went back, he didn't see Hyuga Kingching, and then he followed the traces left by Hyuga Kingching and came here all the way. He didn't expect to see Hyuga Kingching turn to ashes just after he arrived. Although Hyuga Hamura doesn't care about the life and death of Hyuga Kingching, he is afraid of Hyuga Chen's punishment. Now that Sun Xiang Kingching is dead, it's too late. He can only make up for what he has done, catch the person who killed Sun Xiang Kingching, and hand it over to Lord Chen. Madara Uchiha looked at the old man who was older than him. Although he was an old man, he could feel the majestic vitality and was much stronger than him. Chapter 272 Feeling aggrieved. Hinata Hamamura and Uchiha Madara were at each other's throats, and the momentum erupted from their bodies, and the light train in the sky was shaken by the powerful momentum. I hope you are different from the previous trash, and I can't even catch a move. Uchiha Madara said lightly, although he was already vigilant in his heart. His expression still did not change in the slightest, and it was still the same proud attitude. Softboxing technique, 8 trigrams, 128 palms. Hinata Hamamura didn't talk nonsense, and he started to fight. His 2 palms left after images in the air, and the palms were burning with fiery red flames. This is because the attack is too fast, and the flames formed by rubbing the air are similar to the 6th gate of the 8 gates Dunjia, which is aimed at the peacock. Although this attack speed is fast, it has not reached the point where Uchiha Madara can't react. Avoiding Hinata Hamamura's attack, and then facing him with a palm, that is, this palm directly made Uchiha Madara fly upside down for hundreds of meters. Hit the rock wall, Uchiha Madara groaned, and cracks appeared on the rock wall behind him. What a strong physique, the people of the Hyuga family are so perverted. Madara Uchiha couldn't help but complain in his heart. No, this guy is not from the Hyuga family. Madara Uchiha looked at the 2 horns above Hamura's head. Feeling the other party's breath, Madara Uchiha remembered. Wasn't this a puppet that used Izanagi to save his life in one move many years ago? Although the appearance has changed, Madara Uchiha won't feel wrong about the breath. According to Xianqin, that puppet is a younger brother of 6 Paths Immortal. Thinking that the other party is a younger brother of 6 Path Immortals, Madara Uchiha's face shows excitement. He doesn't think he will be worse than anyone. And being able to fight against the strong is also the fun pursued by Madara Uchiha. Just let me see your strength. Madara Uchiha kicked the ground and jumped into the sky. Fire escape. The fire is extinguished. In the face of Madara Uchiha's fire escape, Hinata Hamamura didn't even bother to avoid it, and used the suction seal of the Samsara Eye to directly absorb this huge fire escape. The pure white eyes turned into blue Tenseigens. This Tenseizen was very different from Xianqin's Tenseizen. It was not the same. This is? Madara Uchiha's expression was stiff, his body tense, and the extreme danger came. Shenwu Otanzing. The super repulsive force went berserk, the trees instantly turned into wood chips, and the stones cracked, as if a nuclear bomb exploded, sweeping everything away. Faced with the sudden attack, Madara Uchiha responded very promptly, and the blue Suzu instantly enveloped Madara Uchiha. Under the strong repulsion, the complete Suzu could hardly hold on, and was torn open several times in an instant. Seeing this, Madara Uchiha hurriedly consumed chakra to repair it, and he insisted on it for half a minute before the powerful repulsion dissipated. It's just Shinra Tanzing, it's that strong. Uchiha Madara's brows knit together. If the other party uses Super Shinra Tanzing, can he kill him in seconds? If Hyuga Hamura uses Super Shinra Tensei, he can indeed kill Madara Uchiha in seconds, but he dare not use it. The range of Super Shinra Tanzing is very large. If it is used, the entire country of Rain will be shaken. Before Uchiha Madara can be killed in seconds, Xianqin who is in the country of Rain will be struck to death by a thunderbolt. Madara Uchiha should be fortunate that Hyuga Tatsu is also in the land of Rain, otherwise, Madara Uchiha will definitely be blinded by Hyuga Hamamura's desperation. Seeing this situation, Madara Uchiha didn't want to continue fighting. It was better to retreat first, since he knew that he was not an opponent. It would be stupid to continue to hold on. Madara Uchiha wasn't discouraged either. If he followed his plan, he would become jutsu, and his confidence would definitely be stronger than the opponent. Madara Uchiha separated dozens of wooden clones and ran in all directions. The wooden avatar is more difficult to distinguish than the shadow avatar, and most people can never see the difference between the wooden avatar and the main body. Even Hinata Hamamura couldn't tell the difference for a while, but it didn't matter if he couldn't tell the difference, it was enough to destroy them all. Earthburst. 3 black spheres flew into the sky, and the powerful gravitational rats caused the things on the ground to be pulled by gravity and flew into the sky. Madara Uchiha smiled coldly. Once in front of him, Xianchen demonstrated the method of deciphering the sky star. Fire escape. Arrogant fire extinguishes arrows. No need to aim, the strong gravitational force can make the attack automatically fly towards the black gravitational sphere of the terrestrial star. The 3 Earth Blast stars were easily destroyed by Uchiha Madara. While Uchiha Madara was happy, he was also a little bit pained. In fact, it can't be said to be waste materials. The key is to see how you use it and how strong the gravity is. If you can instantly seal the enemy inside, it will naturally not be destroyed. Seeing that the Earth Blast star was ineffective, Hyuga Hanamura separated hundreds of shadow clones and chased towards Madara Uchiha. The speed of Uchiha Madaragi's clone is definitely not as fast as that of Hinata Hamura's shadow clone, and it will be completely resolved soon, leaving Uchiha Madara's body struggling to support. He found that the strength of these shadow clones is not weak, and more than a dozen shadow clones came together, and he couldn't raise his head directly. Madara Uchiha felt aggrieved in his heart. Madara Uchiha was so dignified that he couldn't even deal with a group of shadow clones, and he felt aggrieved and ashamed. Yan Dan Suzu. Using Amaterasu Black Flame to wrap Suzu, the long sword in his hand was wrapped around the black Amaterasu Black Flame, and he slashed at those shadow clones. Black Flame and Suzu were indeed very powerful, and more than a dozen shadow clones were swept away by a knife, turning into smoke and disappearing. Uchiha Madara left blood and tears in his eyes, and he used too much pupil power, and his eyes could not bear it. The black Jwin Uchiha Madara's mind was very anxious, and he cursed Uchiha Madara in his heart. Every time he went out, he didn't look at the almanac, and he was better than him when he met someone. Stop, I'll go see Xianchen with you. Madara Uchiha shouted. Hinata Hamamura gathered momentum all over his body, and the palm he was about to shoot stopped. You know Tatsusama? Hinata Hamamura asked. That's right. I and Xianchen are collaborators. Uchiha Madara pulled out Xianchen's tiger skin. Master Chen will cooperate with you? Hinata Hamamura gave Madara Uchiha a disdainful look. A guy who can't even beat him is also qualified to cooperate with adults. When I see Xianchen, everything will be clear. Uchiha Madara's face was calm, but he was nervous in his heart. He is now afraid that Hinata Hamamura will act directly. If Hinata Hamamura really attacked, to be honest, Madara Uchiha didn't know how to escape. I'm afraid he might not be able to escape using Izanagi. Okay, I'll take you to see Lord Chen. If you dare to deceive me, I'll let you die. Hinata Hamamura said coldly. Uchiha Madara breathed a sigh of relief. Hinata Hamamura led the way in front, Madara Uchiha followed behind, and he never thought of taking the opportunity to escape. One was that he couldn't afford to lose that person, and the other was that he couldn't escape. And he really wanted to talk to Xianchen. Chapter 273 Mikoto's Reincarnation Pupil Technique. Iwato. Why is this guy here again? Hyuga Tatsu, who was watching the rain with Mikoto, looked angrily into the distance, only to see Hinata Hamamura and Uchiha Madara coming towards him. Strange, Madara Uchiha is here. Xianchen's expression was a little weird. Let me send them away. Mikoto, who was leaning against Xianchen's arms, raised her head, and a cold light flashed in her eyes. After all the girls finally went out, she and Xianchen were the only ones left to live in the two-person world. Suddenly, a few guys appeared to interrupt, which made Mikoto very upset. With her eyes turning into pink samsara eyes, Mikoto said softly, Iwato. Hinata Hamamura and Uchiha Madara, who came from a distance, were sent directly into a dark space without the slightest light. This was when Mikoto opened the Samsara Eye. The awakened Samsara Eye pupil technique was a very powerful space pupil technique. It could not only lock others into the space, but also enter the space herself to avoid attacks. Space is a dead, dark space. If normal people stay in it for a long time, they may become insane. What's going on? Madara Uchiha asked with a frown as he stood in the space where he could not see his fingers. The space was pitch black, and Madara Uchiha couldn't see anything at all. 120 in this dark and dead space, only Mikoto, the master, was unaffected. Hinata Hamamura couldn't see anything either, and grabbed Madara Uchiha by feeling, but grabbed an empty one. Now Hyuga Hamamura is stunned. He can't find Madara Uchiha. Could Madara Uchiha run away? In fact, he didn't know that Uchiha Madara was not far from him. Originally, Hinata Hamamura could also find Madara Uchiha with the sound of his breathing. But in this space, not only can't see anything, but also can't hear any sound, and even the perception ability is blocked. If Mikoto wanted to kill them, she could easily kill them by sneak attack in this space, and everything in this space was under Mikoto's control. As long as they are in this space, Mikoto can let them experience what it means that death is coming, and what is the world against you. Humphrey, just let them stay inside. Mikoto snorted, and continued to lean against Rixianchen's arms. Rixianchen stroked Makin's hair. It was the first time he had seen the arrogant and unreasonable Makin. Hyuga Hamura can use Huangquan Hirazaka. Your space can't trap him. Hyuga Chen said softly. Don't be afraid. In my dimension, it's not easy to use space ninjutsu. I'm afraid he won't be able to use it. Mikoto clenched her fist and said confidently. Rixianchen smiled. Mikoto's main Iwato was indeed very strong. He also tried it in, but it didn't affect him in any way. His sight and hearing would not be affected. But this is because of the strength of Rixianchen. Kushina, who has already stepped into the 6th level, can't even use the space ninjutsu of Flying Thunder God. The space inside is extremely difficult to break, equivalent to a weakened version of Rixianchen's space blockade. Even a person of the 6th level, it would take some time to open up the space to escape. And Hinata Hamura is not thinking about going out now. He still has to find Uchiha Madara, otherwise he is afraid of being demolished by Hyuga Datsu. In the afternoon, Rixianchen looked at Mikoto and said, let them both out. Yeah. Mikoto nodded. Her samsara eyes trembled slightly, and Hinata Hanamura and Uchiha Madara who were in the dark space were released. Uchiha Madara's eyes were blood red, and he was locked in a dark, soundless space for most of the day, and even Uchiha Madara could not bear it. Facing the dazzling sunlight, Madara Uchiha narrowed his eyes slightly. Lord Chen, Hyuga Kingqing died and was killed by him. Hinata Hamamura pointed at Madara Uchiha. Rixianchen nodded lightly. It doesn't matter if Kingqing is dead or not. Anyway, Rixianchen doesn't look down on his strength. Master Ban, we meet again. Rixianchen smiled. Humphrey, Madara Uchiha snorted coldly. If he could, he definitely didn't want to meet Rixianchen. Pay attention to your attitude. Hinata Hamura's eyes flashed a cold light. Glancing at Hinata Hamura indifferently, Madara Uchiha looked directly at Rixianchen and asked, Rixianchen, didn't you say you didn't want to use Samsara Eye? Why did you send your men to Samsara Eye? Rixianchen scratched his ears and said lightly, I didn't let them the Samsara Eye, otherwise I would have obtained the Samsara Eye. Madara Uchiha's face was blue and purple. Every time he saw Rixianchen, the initiative was not in his hands. In this world, strength is still respected, and only those with big fists have the right to speak. And it is precisely Uchiha Madara's fist that is not as big as Rixianchen. Okay, I'm not in a mood to chat with you. Rixianchen waved his hand, indicating that Madara Uchiha would get out of the way. Madara Uchiha glanced at Rixianchen with a blank face, and finally turned and left with an ugly face. When he became Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, he would settle the account with Rixianchen. Now that he wants to settle accounts with Rixianchen, he is not an opponent, so please bear with the anger in your heart. Master Chen, if he's gone, get out of here, too. Rixianchen said impatiently. Hinata Hamura nodded and immediately retreated. I can see the murderous intent in Madara Uchiha's eyes. Why didn't you deal with him? Mikoto asked in confusion. No need. Sun Xianchen shook his head, and let Uchiha Madara jump around. See what tricks he can jump. Then I'll make dinner first. With a peck on Xianchen's face, Mikoto went back to make dinner. Rixianchen sat in the pavilion for a while, and then went back. Without Mikoto, the pattering rain was nothing to look at. Madara Uchiha was lying on the ground, the kaleidoscope writing wheel was turning frantically. Blood was constantly spilling from the corners of his mouth, and he looked at the back of Hinata Hamura with a frantic expression. Just now, he was beaten by Hinata Hamura. A dog-legged son of Rixianchen actually beat him violently, which made him lose face, and his inner arrogance disappeared. After I get the power, I will tear you apart. Madara Uchiha roared. After shouting, Madara Uchiha, who was furious and severely injured, fainted. After Uchiha Madara fainted, Hiju emerged from Uchiha Madara's body. His dark face showed helplessness, and he wanted to scold his mother for selling out. Originally wanted to rely on Uchiha Madara to complete his plan, but now Uchiha Madara can't beat anyone and is bullied everywhere. Otsutsuki Uai, Rixianchen. Hiju gritted his teeth. These two people were the great enemies in his heart. Otsutsuki Ui can seal his mother, and his strength can be imagined. Sun Xianchen's strength is even more unknown, but the person who can kill Otsutsuki Umura can be simple. With a frowning face, he lurked on Uchiha Madara's body again, and he could only hope that the plan would succeed. Uchiha Madara eventually became the ten-tailed Manzuri, resurrected his mother, and then completed his ultimate goal. Chapter 274 The Battle of Shenwu Piqiao. Time flies. 2 years have passed in a blink of an eye, and the Third Ninja War is still in full swing. This war, although not as many people died as the Second Ninja War, but the intensity was not inferior at all. In particular, the country of Thunder is the craziest. The third generation of Reincarnation died. Although it has nothing to do with Konoha, Young reinvented everything on Konoha. If it hadn't been for Namikaze Minato cutting off young ninja supplies several times, and defeating the newly appointed Reincarnation of the fourth generation and Duo Tairanzuruki, which greatly improved Konoha's momentum, young ninja could have hit Konoha's door. In the same way, the nine-tailed man Jinchuriki Uzumaki Tomoko, a weapon of war, also inevitably went to the battlefield, blocking the pace of Kirian village on the battlefield of the Fog Ninja. The Land of Rain is the battlefield of the three major countries, but because of the spoilers of Jutsunai and the four little girls of Sun Xiangchen, the chaos turned into a pot of porridge, and none of the three major countries took advantage. The war has become fierce, and now the villages are fighting for their heritage. Materials, money, and the top combat power of the major villages are all the heritage of the villages. In the Third Ninja World War, the most dazzling waves were Feng Minato. After stabilizing the situation on the young ninja battlefield, he relied on the technique of Flying Thunder God to shuttle through the major battlefields. It was Konoha's greatest contribution. At this time, it was the Third Ninja War, one of the most important events, that is, the Battle of Kamabashi Bridge. The hidden rock village in the Land of Earth had sent more than 1,000 ninjas to cross the border of the Land of Grass to invade the border of the Land of Fire and speed up the war. The Third Ninja World War has been going on for more than 2 years, and no one wants to continue to drag it on. The consumption of materials is too great, and all countries cannot afford it. Therefore, the land wants to speed up the progress of the war and defeat Konoha as quickly as possible. Facing the offensive of Iwahide village, Sarutobi Hizen dispatched Minato to destroy Iwahide village's supply route, Kanabi Bridge. Namikaze Minato took 3 disciples and accepted this task. In order to effectively complete the task, Namafing Minato proposed to divide into 2 teams. Hatake Kakashi, who had just become a Jonin, led his teammates Uchiha Obito and Panasonic to the God of Destruction Mubai Bridge. Minato Namikaze rushed to the front line alone to support his comrades who were struggling, and diverted the enemy's attention by the way, so that Kakashi and the others could successfully carry out their mission. However, the mission was not smooth. Not long after the separation, Hatake Kakashi and the others were attacked, and Matsushita was taken hostage. Uchiha Obito saw that one of his favorites was arrested, and that's okay, and proposed to let another beloved Kakashi accompany him to rescue Panasonic. Hatake Kakashi expressed jealousy and did not want to go. Cough cough. All right. Hatake Kakashi felt that completing the task was the most important thing and did not want to save Panasonic. Those who violate the rules of the ninja, we call them trash. But people who don't know how to value their companions are even worse than trash. After Uchiha Obito finished speaking, he turned and left, wanting to rescue Panasonic alone. Before leaving, he looked back at Kakashi and said solemnly, "Konoha White Fang is a real hero." Hatake Kakashi was shocked, and Obito's words deeply stimulated him. The same thing was said to him by his father once. Standing in the same place and thinking for a long time, Hatake Kakashi gritted his teeth and followed. Obito's words changed him. Uchiha Obito smiled when he saw Hatake Kakashi following, and he knew that he was not wrong. What follows is similar to the original plot, except that Lin, who was originally cute and gentle, has become the cute blue child of Panasonic. Obito and Kakashi worked together to rescue Panasonic, but Kakashi still lost his left eye in order to protect Obito, which moved Obito very much. Obito immediately patted his chest and said that even if Kakashi lost an eye, he would never dislike Kakashi. Just when Obito was about to speak love to Kakashi, Kakashi was knocked to the ground by a sudden rubble. Uchiha Obito saw that Kakashi was injured and immediately came to save him, but unfortunately he also suffered. Uchiha Obito was pressed down by the boulder, and half of his body was shattered. It was obvious that he could not survive. In the crisis of life and death, Uchiha Obito's eyes evolved into jade writing round eyes. Obito, you. Panasonic looked at Uchiha Obito with a trembling body. Hatake Kakashi's pupils shrank, and there was a trace of sadness in his eyes. The past few years of getting along have made Kakashi truly regard Obito as a friend, and he is also responsible for Obito. Of course, if Kakashi knew that he regarded Obito as a friend, but Obito wanted to him, he would definitely make a stab at Obito who still has a breath. Half of his body was crushed, and Obito was still alive. This vitality was simply Xioqiang. However, there is also the reason why he wrote the Wheel Eye. In fact, at this time, Obito had already half awakened Shenwu, and Shenwu let his body half pass through the rock, so that he could leave his breath. Of course, even so, Obito's vitality is strong enough, and his writing Wheel Eye is definitely the most special writing Wheel Eye. Kakashi, you have become Shangnin. I haven't given you a gift yet. Now I will give you my Sharingan, hoping to become your eyes. Also, take good care of Panasonic. Obito looked at Kakashi tightly, with a complex meaning in his eyes, with reluctance and nostalgia for this world. Staring at Obito, Kakashi nodded heavily. In the end, Panasonic helped Kakashi transplant Obito's left eye, and the cave shook and collapsed immediately, and Hatake Kakashi and Panasonic escaped. The soil was buried in the ground. Hatake Kakashi looked sad and looked at Iwanan outside, as if he had found an outlet. Thunder escape, thousands of birds. Hatake Kakashi's writing wheel eye hook jade turned, and the thunderlight flashed in his palm. His palm was like a sharp blade, and it made a sound like 1,000 birds chirping. Before Iwagakushi Murakami Shinobu could speak, his body was penetrated. How can it be so fast? Kamijin Hyogwang died unwillingly. After the outbreak, Hatake Kakashi killed all the Iwanan by himself, and asked them to bury with the soil. Although Kakashi succeeded in destroying the Kamabashi bridge in the end and completed the mission, Kakashi was not happy. In this battle, he lost his good friend. Minato Namikaze learned the news, and after a while of sadness, he temporarily suppressed the self-blame in his heart. After becoming a ninja, especially in this ninja war, Minato Namikaze has become accustomed to parting ways. Although the death of his own disciple made him very sad, he had to cheer up at this time. Iwa Shinobu got the only supply route of Shenwu by bridge was destroyed, and he was completely crazy, and desperately launched an attack on Konoha. And this is their only way. The supply is cut off, unless they can capture Konoha, or they can only retreat. Unwilling to retreat, Iwanan attacked Konoha regardless of the cost. In the end, the crazy Iwanan was defeated by Namikaze Minato relying on the technique of Flying Thunder God, killing dozens of Jonin by himself, and he could only retreat in defeat. In this battle, Minato Namikaze got the name of the Yellow Flash, and the name spread throughout the ninja world. The high-level officials of the major shinobi villages ordered that they could give up the mission when they encountered Minato Namikaze. When Oyemu knew the result of this battle, his angry red nose was crooked. Jealous. Chapter 275 Discussion. The Battle of Kanabi Bridge almost made Yanin village withdraw from the Ninja World War, and the coalition of Onogi and the 4 generations of Kazekage Liuosho was blocked from Piqiao Mountain again. Oyemu's face was gloomy and terrifying, and he was a little dissatisfied with Liu Osha, the new Fenning, because Liu Osha's strength was too weak. Liu Osha, the 4th generation of Fenning, can't even beat Orochimaru, and he is beaten by Orochimaru every time. I really don't understand how this guy became Fenning. I wonder if you have any good way to defeat Konoha, Liuosho? Oyemu asked indifferently. Liu Osha was silent. What could he do? I really don't know why Sand Ninja Village chose you as Fenning. Could it be that there is no one in Sand Ninja Village? Onoma snorted coldly, his expression full of contempt and displeasure. Liu Osha got angry and stood up abruptly. Although he is not very strong, he is ambitious and has a bad temper. Oyemu mocked him so much, Liu Osha couldn't help it at all. Magic Dungeon Shuriken. Use the sand to create a shuriken and slash it towards Onogi's neck. The mother-in-law Chio next to her was startled, but she didn't expect Liu Osha to be so irritable. She would act whenever she disagreed, regardless of the consequences. Bold, dared to attack the 3rd generation of Soil Shadows. The Lois, who was protecting Oigi, was angry when he saw that the 4th generation of Wind Shadows dared to attack his father. Earth Escape Rock Fist Technique. The powerful Rock Fist smashed on Liu Osha's Gold Duster Shuriken, and the powerful force knocked Liu Osha out. Liu Osha's face flushed red, and Tangton Fenning was actually repelled by a guard. If this spread out, where would his face be? Attack me, you are really brave. In front of me, you are just a junior. Onoma sat on the chair with a look of disdain. Enough, Liu Osha, come back. Granny Chio slapped the table and stood up. Liu Osha was still young. How could she be the opponent of the old fox, Onogi? Liu Osha's face was full of anger, and even Chio, the Fenning consultant, actually yelled at him, and he was really aggrieved by this Fenning. In fact, this is indeed the case. Liu Osha's prestige in Sand Ninja Village is definitely not comparable to that of Chio's mother-in-law, and many people are even dissatisfied with Liu Osha's becoming Fenning. I heard that your Rock Ninja Village was beaten by the Yellow Flash and fled. I don't know if it's true. Liu Osha sat down and began to reveal Oyemu's scar. Onoma was furious, his eyes flashing with cold light. Grandma Chio frowned and sighed in her heart. She was the one who pushed Liu Osha to take the position of Fenning at first. But now it seems that Liu Osha's not suitable for Fenning at all. At this time, provoking Onogi, besides getting the jealousy of Iwa Ninja Village, what else can I get? This is provoking enemies for Sand Ninja Village. If you listen to me and attack the border of the Fire Country together from the Kingdom of Quinn, would something like this happen? Onogi stood up and his breath surged. Although Onogi was short in stature, no one dared to underestimate him. Onogi, the past is over. Let's talk about how to defeat Konoha now. The 4 major ninja villages shot at Konoha at the same time. If we can't beat Konoha, how will the ninja world view us? Granny Chio stood up and said cautiously. Onogi sat back again. Although he was full of anger, he was not someone who didn't care about the overall situation. It's just that Sand Ninja Village really made him angry. If Sand Ninja Village agreed with his original plan, they, Iwanan, attacked the border of the country of fire from the country of grass, and the Sand Ninja attacked the border of the country of fire from the country of river, leaving Konoha to ignore each other. The 1,000 ninjas dispatched by Iwa Ninja Village this time, more than 700 ninjas died, which can be described as heavy losses. Konoha is easy to say, but what about Uzumaki Kushina? Onogi's expression was a little heavy. Speaking of Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha suddenly stood up and roared through gritted teeth, I must kill that woman. Just 2 months ago, he was severely beaten by Kushina with 4 of Reincarnation's little girls, in front of all the sand ninjas. And without asking the reason, he came up and tied him with a chakra chain, and then let the 4 little girls beat him violently. After the beating, he walked away, and no one dared to stop him. This is regarded by Uchiha as the shame of a lifetime, the biggest black history. Shadow of a village was madly beaten by 4 little girls, and no one in the entire sand ninja village dared to move, staring blankly at him being beaten. It was a humiliation. He was dignified, but no one from Sand Ninja Village stood up to help him. Oyemu looked at Uchiha, who was gnashing his teeth, and showed a disdainful smile. Is this guy still trying to take revenge? 3 generations of Reincarnation have been killed. What will Uchiha take to get revenge? What's more, there is Sun Xianqian behind Uzumaki Kushina. Thinking of Sun Xianqian, Oyemu couldn't help trembling, and there was a touch of fear in his heart. If you want revenge, you can do it yourself, and don't involve Irock Ninja Village. Onoma said coldly. Uchiha, I warn you. Don't provoke the whirlpool Kushina, or you won't be the wind shadow. Granny Chio warned. Uchiha felt aggrieved. He was beaten violently for no reason, and as the shadow of the great ninja village, he couldn't take revenge. I see. Uchiha sat down depressed. If Chio wants to change the wind, with Chio's reputation in Sand Ninja Village, it's just a matter of words. If it wasn't for Chio's age, and he was not interested in fenning, Uchiha would never be the 4th generation of fenning, and Uchiha knew this in his heart. Therefore, even if he was dissatisfied with Chio, Uchiha did not dare to show it, and could only slowly weaken Chio's right to speak. As the shadow of a village, the person with the highest position in the village does not want to make the village a hall of his own, but he also has the greatest right to speak. Although Chio was kind to him and supported him to become Kazekage, there were some things he had to do, not to mention that Uchiha was not a good person in the first place, so he could do it with kindness and revenge. Ignore this topic for now. Uzumaki Kushina usually doesn't make a move. It's just the 4 little girls at most. I'll just avoid it in the future, Chio said after thinking about it. This is also the only solution I can think of. Although I feel a little embarrassed, I must endure it for the sake of the village. Let's discuss first, how to deal with the yellow flash wave Feng Minato. He is our biggest enemy, said Hai Lao Zhang, who has been silent. When it comes to Namikaze Minato, they have a headache again. The speed of space ninjutsu is too fast, and it comes and goes without a trace. If I can limit Minato Namamo's Flying Thunder God technique, I can take him down by myself. Uchiha's eyes flashed with confidence. Hey Tilda. Onogi laughed mockingly, who wouldn't know what to say, and it's not like he hasn't played against Minato Namikaze. Even if he didn't have the technique of Flying Thunder God, Minato Namikaze couldn't be beaten by Uchiha. Hearing the mocking laughter, Uchiha's eyes flashed with anger. Uchiha kept cursing Oyemu in his heart. Obviously he was a shadow. What qualifications do you have to laugh at me, an old guy? If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, where you can find advanced audiobooks that hasn't been uploaded on YouTube till now. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.